Hello grade 10, here Mr. G. This is going to be another question about periodic table. There is going to be questions like this one in the upcoming examination, so we are going to practice, okay? This question said use the clues to place the symbol in the table below. This table below represents the portion of the periodic table. Here is the periodic table. So that symbol, that piece of the table you have there is coming for this side here of the periodic table. All this side here up to there. So any element that is involved in those data is only that portion of the periodic table. You can see you have 3 periods, you have so many groups. So before we go on, let's write down the number of the groups. This is group 1, this is group 2, this is group 13, this is group 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Those are the groups. All these ones here are the transition metal. Transition metals is not part of this question. They are not there. Okay? And in Roman numbers, we're going to write it because later we are going to need it. This will be group 1, this will be group 2, this will be group 3, this will be group 4, group 5, group 6, group 7, and group 8. Now, this one is important because we are going to use it later. If we go in here on the left-hand side of the periodic table, we have period 1, period 2, period 3. Okay? Now, this is important because it gives us an idea what portion of the periodic table are we working with. So, let's start answering. Remember, this here is just a representation of the periodic table. Alright, we are not going to include in the empty blocks any symbol of the elements of the periodic table, but instead we are going to use the letters for the information. Okay, so the first one says the most reactive metal in this list. We need to remember that reactivity increases as you go down the group. So increase as you going down a group. So within the group, the elements that are further down are more reactive than the elements that are on top. All right, now in the metals, the one that is more reactive is the elements in group 1. As the reactivity increases as you go down, so the answer will be in group 1, the first element here at the bottom in period 3. If you go to the periodic table, that will correspond to sodium. As you move down a group, the elements become more reactive. Please remember that trend. Okay, so this is the more reactive metal in this list. It's not in the whole periodic table, but only for this. Now, B, a non-metal that can make 4 bonds. So now we're going to look at a non-metal that can form 4 bonds. First, let's go here to the periodic table and look where are the metals and where are the non-metal. Remember, this line here in group 13 is dividing the semi-metals and the metals with the non-metals, right? So these elements here are going to be the semi-metal, group 13 and 14, period 3. So if we go in here, let's just mark this one just for us to have an idea. Okay, so let's use another color and come here to group 13. This one here will give you the semi-metals. Okay, now in this question B, we're looking for a non-metal. So it's a compound that is further to that side. Okay, so all these ones here are non-metals. All right, maybe we can use a small light to indicate here all these ones here are non-metals. Okay, all these ones are non-metals, and on the other side are the metal. So we're looking for B, a non-metal that can form 4 bonds. Alrighty then. What you have to know? How do you know a metal that can form 4 bonds? So that must have valency of 4. Valency of 4. That is the one that can form 4 bonds. Now, how do we get the valency in the periodic table? Every element in group 1 we have a valency of 1. Every element in group 2 will have a valency of 2. Every element in group 13 we have a valency of 3. For group 14 is 4. Then you go into 3, 2, 1, and 0. Okay, so for valency, I'm going to write it perhaps here at the bottom. Valency for the groups, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. For the valency, that is the valency of all the elements in that specific group. We are looking for a metal or a non-metal that can form 4 bonds that have a valency of 4. The only option is going to be the non-metal in group 14. So this one is going to be element B. Okay, moving on. C, a yellowish solid that is a non-metal. Now, a yellowish solid that is a non-metal, we're looking for all these substances here. If we go to the actual periodic table, we have nitrogen is gas, we have phosphorus, oxygen, sulfur, fluorine, and chlorine. So it's one of those. However, this one here is the only one that is solid and is powder. So it is in group 16, period 3. Group 16, period 3. That here, which is sulfur, is number C. This one is for C, and remember that is sulfur. Let's write it here. Sulfur. Sulfur is that yellowish solid that is a non-metal, is actually a powder. Okay, I'm sure you saw it in class. D, a noble gas with 2 protons. Now, we are about noble gas. Remember, noble gases are the elements in group 18. The noble gases, all of those, all these specific group name, noble gases, are the elements in group 18. So in group 18, we have all these ones here in group 18. However, if we start from here, remember this element is element 1, this is element 2, element 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then you go to the periodic table, 11, 12, then 13 is there, the aluminum, is this one here, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. That number is a number of protons. Alright, and we're looking for a noble gas with 2 protons. Noble gas is group 18, and 2 proton is the first one, which is in actual fact that is going to be helium. Okay, helium. A noble gas with 2 protons is helium. Here is going to be D. Let's write here D. So moving on, the lightest alkali metal. Now, the lightest alkali metal, we are in group 1. The alkali metals, do the following. The alkali metals are the elements in group 1. Group 1, those are alkali metals. So we are looking for one of these elements in group 1. Note that the first element is hydrogen, which is not a metal, it's a non-metal. So we only have the option of the first 2 block. Alkali metal, which have the largest alkali metal. Okay? Alright, so the alkali metal, the lightest one, is the first metal. As it coming down the group, it will become heavier. Okay? So the lightest one is the first element, which in this case will be lithium and correspond to period 2, so this one is going to be element E. Alright, so we're moving on. a member of the alkali earth metal with 12 neutrons. Now, remember, this question you have to do it along with the periodic table. You have to look what do you see in the periodic table, okay? So let's, first of all, make a small note here. Alkali earth metal, those elements are the elements in group 2. So the alkali earth metal are the elements in group 2. So in this portion of the table, we are talking about group 2, which is this one here. Now they say that they have 12 neutrons. Remember, how do we get the neutrons? Neutrons will be equal to atomic mass minus the atomic number. All right, so you have to go to the actual periodic table and look there. You have 24,3 and 9. So definitely if you say 24 divided by 12, 24 minus 12 is 12. 9 minus 4 is 5. It won't give you 12. Okay, so it will be magnesium. We have 24 and 12. So if you come here, say 24 minus 12, and that is equal to 12. So what element is that? It is magnesium. So F is going to be allocated here, where F is going to be allocated there. Okay, a metalloid in group 13. So in group 13, we already divided the metalloids. So it's going to be that one there, which is boron. You can look later in the periodic table, is G. So this one is for G, a metalloid in group 13. Okay, a gas in period 2 that is used in combustion reaction. Now, important, the gas that we use in combustion reaction, is going to be oxygen. The gas that is used in combustion reaction is oxygen. And oxygen is in period 2. Now, what group? Let's make sure we look here. Is in group 16, period 2. So group 16, period 2, and that is 4H. Group 16, period 2 is here. This one here is going to be the oxygen one. Okay, so it's H. We're in H. Now, number I, semiconductor in period 3. Semiconductor, the semiconductors in the periodic table are the semi-metals. So this is quite easy. This we're looking for a semi-metal or metalloid. Semi-metal or metalloid, which is the same. So in period 3, according to our relations here, is the element number 14. Okay, that is for I. So I is going to be allocated here. That is for I. Moving on. J. A noble gas with the configuration of 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6. If we look here, the numbers on top represent the number of electrons. So this one have 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 6 is 10, 16, 18. So we're looking at an element that in the neutral way, it has, in the neutral form, it have 18 electrons. If we go to the portion of the periodic table, that one will be this one here. Okay? And if you go to the actual periodic table, that is argon. But the question is not to look in the periodic table. So that one is J. J is going to this corner here. Moving on, we're almost done. K, the most common gas in the atmosphere with 5 valence. Now, the valence electron. For the valence electron, you are going to use the Roman number. For valence, you're going to use the Roman number. So all the elements in group 1 will have 1 valence. In group 2, 2 valence, and so on, using the Roman number. We are looking for an element that has 5 valence electron. So 5 valence electron is one of these two in group 15. So we go here to group 15, we have nitrogen and phosphorus. The gas is nitrogen, phosphorus is not a gas. Okay, so here in group 15, this is for letter K, That is the most common gas in the atmosphere, and it's going to be here. That is going to be K. Okay? Moving on. This is for nitrogen. All right? I'm going to write nitrogen, but you can later on do it. Al, a halogen in period 3. Now, halogens. Which ones are the halogens? Halogens are the elements in group 17. Those are the halogen. So we are looking at halogen in period 3. So halogen in period 3 is going to be here. This element in number 17, and we are in L, letter L. Here is the halogen in period 3. Okay? Moving on, a yellowish gas that form an ion with a -1 charge. Now, all the elements that are halogens are in group 17. Group 17 form a -1 charge ion. So we are looking still for an element in group 17. Now, a yellowish gas that form an ion with a 1 negative charge. If you go here, you have fluorine and chlorine. Chlorine is not a gas. So the only gas here is fluorine. Chlorine is a gas, but it's not a yellowish. So we're talking about fluorine, that is M, and we're going to write it here. That is M. Moving on, we almost finished. A light silvery metal with a valence of 3. Remember, valence of 3. Valence are the Roman number. So valence of 3. Let me just look quickly. Let's say a silvery metal with a valence of 3. So that silvery metal is going to be aluminum. You know, all aluminum is silvery metal, and it's going to be silvery metal with valency of 3. So we're going to group 13. This is silvery metal. What letter was that? That was letter N. So we are by N. You can see we almost done. I'm trying to do it as fast as I can. An element with 4 protons. 4 protons, you go to the periodic table, to the piece of the periodic table. An element with 4 protons is element number 4. That will be an element with 4 protons. That is quite simple. You go to P, an element with the smallest atom form. There's a small mistake in that word there. With the smallest atom, it's supposed to be atom. So let's quickly fix that word. I'm very sorry about that mistake. With the smallest atom. The smallest atom. What is the smallest atom of the periodic table? That will be hydrogen. The smallest atom in the periodic table is hydrogen, and this is for letter, I didn't look, letter P. So P is going to be right there. So we're almost done. I think we have only 2 more. They're an element with a notation of a Q3115. Remember, this is going to be X, Z at the bottom, A on top. So you're looking for the Z. The Z is going to be the atomic number. Atomic number, that is the number of proton. We practiced this one in previous videos. We're looking for number 15. So number 15, and that one is for Q. Number 15 is here, and there is going to be Q. All right, and then the final one is a gas used in street light and lightest signboards. So this one is helium. The gas used in street light and lighted signboard is going to be helium, and helium is going to be number 10. You can see here in the periodic table is, it's neon, no helium, it's neon. The light used in the street is neon, no helium. So that one is for R, and is the last one right here. That is R. The light used in street light is neon, no helium. Okay, so thank you very much. I hope is clear. There is the answer for this question. It's quite long. There's a lot of information. Practice in your upcoming test. You will have questions similar to this one. Thank you very much. Good luck. I hope you understand.